Hey, let me tell you a secret. I've been doing YouTube for 2 years and I got the nice camera and a nice mic and some fancy lighting and a nice backdrop office, but I'm here to tell you, growing on YouTube is not as easy as everybody seems to say it is. Which is why a couple of months ago, I hired Tim Schmoyer and the video creators team to come and do a channel audit and review. They watched some of my videos, they gave me some feedback, I made some changes, and I was blown away almost immediately with results. And so I met up with Tim at FinCon a couple of months ago, and he agreed to come on my podcast, which is what you're about to watch. So in this video, of course, Tim and I are going to chat about YouTube. This is absolutely perfect. If you are kind of just starting out to where I'm at, still less than 10,000 subscribers, we're going to talk YouTube growth as well as some other things. I'm going to talk about burnout as creators and entrepreneurs. Maybe you experienced that like me. Doesn't matter. I'm going to post the interview in full, but check the links in the description below for some, timestamps. If you don't have 40 minutes to sit right now and watch it all the way through, just go find out what you're looking for, baby. Get some value bombs here from Pete and Tim Schmoyer. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this chat with the founder of Video Creators, one of the best meta YouTuber influencers I watch and listen to on a regular basis, the one, the only Tim Schmoyer. Tim, let's just jump right in. I thought something that we might explore would be burnout. That's something I myself have, it feels like extensive experience with. But I just watched a video you publish it's October when we're recording this, kind of talking about the past 6 months for you. So if you will, just take us back 6 months and what happened leading up to that time that led to burnout, wanting to slow down or stop, or depression, or whatever that was. Don't let me put words in your mouth. Well, what happened?
Yeah, I can do words. Thanks. So I started on YouTube back in 2006, over 15 years ago now. Make a really short story here is that it grew. Yeah. I ended up figuring out a lot about how YouTube's platform works and how people connect and engage on there and things. Ended up doing YouTube strategy for Disney, for Warner Brothers, for eBay, for Budweiser, for HBO. 4,000 clients later, over 18 billion views later on YouTube, 81 million subscribers with our clients, a growing business. And on top of that, my wife and I had 7 kids in 8 years. And all of these things happening, all these pressures with a growing business, with a family. My wife and I have been married for 15 years as well. And, we've been married that long, things kind of come up. And so we were struggling in some things together in our relationship. And it all just kind of came to a head. Yeah. And about close to this time last year, I just had my body just melted, not literally, but metaphorically. I woke up in the middle of the night and I had my stomach was just like, it felt like it was clamping down on like a double-edged knife, in my stomach. And I couldn't, I got out of bed. I'm like, maybe something I ate, went to the bathroom. It was like, I sat there, and the longer I sat there, the worse it got. And then I tried to get off the toilet. I'm sorry, but this is the story. And
I love the way this is going.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, I will tell you what I was doing on this toilet. Well, I was doing nothing on the toilet.
Usually takes me half an hour.
Nothing happened. Yeah. That was the frustrating part. But I couldn't get off because I couldn't stand up. And so I ended up crawling from the toilet back into our bedroom and on the floor next to my wife's side of the bed, trying to wake her up. And she's like, "What are you doing?" Why are you on the floor of this? And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I have a knife in my stomach. I can't stand up. I can barely crawl. I need to go to the hospital. I am not go to the doctor type of guy, I had, in fact, I hadn't been to the doctor in years prior to this because when I tried to go to the doctor, they're like, yeah, you have to come back and do a new patient thing now because it's been so long. I was like, no, I need you now. I can't do the new patient thing in 6 months from now or whatever. So, called the doctor. Basically, long story short, again, is that it subsided and I didn't end up going into the doctor, but to the emergency room. But I did go to the doctor later, and because of some of the stuff my wife and I were going through, we were already seeing a therapist, and both the therapist and the doctor were both like, "This is stress induced. You need to chill. You need to back off. You got a lot going on." And it had been, growing the business for So many years. Yeah. I just, my body just gave out and I stopped making YouTube videos. I stopped a lot of different things in the business. For the very first time, I left. I took off from the business, and I would take vacation before, but it was always like I was still checking in here and there, thinking about it. I disconnected completely for 6 weeks, and then after the 6 weeks, even it was like checking in like once a week or something like that. It was still very little. So
let's actually just stop right there because this is really fascinating to me. I have to imagine that was not easy, taking a 6 week.
It was at that point it was, but yeah, I should have done it sooner. At that point it was like, I have to. There's no other choice. Yeah.
What did you do? Just life as usual, except for absolutely no work?
One of the issues is that, and anyone who runs their own business knows this, is like you feel like there's so much riding on you. And our business was at a mature enough place where we had 10 employees and we have, some cushion and some margin, but still, like, I'm going to be totally honest, like you want to feel needed. You want to feel like, I'm needed somewhere. And it's not uncommon, I've learned, for people who grow businesses to get to a point where they're like, this is too much for me, or I don't deserve all this or something, and start sabotaging it in order to keep it at a level where they feel like the business still needs them. And I wasn't doing that intentionally.
Check mark.
You're doing that now? Sorry. Yep.
Well, not necessarily right this second. But
we had done that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So all I did is like, I learned what self-care is. I thought that was, I heard the word before, but I was like, that's stupid. But started.
That's not for driven entrepreneurs.
No, you can't. Yeah, exactly. But I learned and for me, and you can laugh at me. It's okay. It's fine. I laugh at myself. This is how bad it was. For me, self-care meant sitting down and drinking a soda after the kids were in bed. Like that was like step one for me. And that was hard. Yep. And I would do that and I was like, oh, wow. Like, what is this life? But most of it turned into me doing a lot of woodworking projects. It's kind of the hobby I do, like in the garage building stuff and doing a lot of that and just like sleeping and resting, reading a lot of books and non-business books. Just kind of like deep breath, like kind of recenter. And then when I got back to the business, it was like, 6 weeks later, I checked in thinking like, okay, this is going to be like taking the worst vacation ever. It's going to take me several weeks to catch up on everything. It literally only took me about 15 minutes to catch up on everything. And after that, I was like, oh, they really don't need me. Like, that's like really good, really awesome, and really terrifying at the same time. So you're like proud of what the team can do now, but you're also like, what about me? So anyway, it's been a long journey since then, probably a year later. And my wife and I are doing better than we've ever done, in our last 15 years of marriage and kids. And the business is growing and doing well. And I've learned how to have more proper boundaries and things with it too. So it's good.
One of the biggest takeaways I got from your story, first of all, thank you for opening up and even talking about this sort of stuff. I find it encouraging. It's funny when people, I'm not going to be that guy who's like, people email me all the time to tell me. But I hear this every now and then. They
beg me to keep the card open for another 24 hours. No one did that. Don't BS me.
I got 7,000 emails over the weekend.
You just lost all respect. I just lost all respect. Yeah, but with people.
I know.
Anyway, don't do that.
But I do know this is something people struggle with. They think when they are newer, and by newer, I literally mean anything less than billions of views for clients, working with Disney and Planet Earth and all the different ridiculous companies that you worked for, right? I mean, I'd never heard of any of those companies. I don't know what Budweiser is. You'll have to fill me in later. That was a joke.
Yeah.
That's
HBO? No?
But the point is, you have a team. You guys make money. It might not be crazy 9 figures a year, but you have an established brand. You've been doing this long enough. You know what you're doing. Even then, it gets stressful, and there's uncertainty and anxiety and stuff like that. And if I was trying to sum this up for a takeaway for people listening, it's like the realities of reaching burnout actually never go away, right? We like to think that there's $1 million threshold somewhere in business and in life where the troubles fade away, and it doesn't.
The problem isn't the money. The problem is ourselves. And like, do we like ourselves? Do we want to be with ourselves? Can we feel valuable and needed and wanted? Can we feel like we're enough without money, without accolades, without things that people deem as like successful and important and valuable? Like, can we just be like, I am valuable. I am worth it, and I don't want to get too like in this weird space, not necessarily because like I kind of feel weird even just saying it, to be honest. But I understand. But the point is like, what are those things rooted in, and like in terms of like our value and so I think, especially in Western society, and especially in American society, it's like you feel valuable by working hard, and there's this like culture of hustle mentality. If you're not working harder than the next guy's going to win. But like win what? Like a faster trip to the ER? What if making $100,000 a year like was great and you could be content with that? Like what if like, do you need the million? Like, no, but it's like when we work with clients, they're like, thanks. Like, this is great. I reached my 1 million subscribers. They're happy for about 15 minutes. And then like, how do we get to 2 million?
Now let's get to 5 million.
Yeah. And then we get on to 2 million. Literally, it's a true story. This guy is like, okay, now we're at 2 million. He's like, how do we get to 10 million? And I'm like, dude, you're happy for like 10, 15 minutes. And I get it. Like, we want to pursue the next biggest thing. We want to know how far can we go. We want to test our limits, things like that. And I'm not saying those are bad or inappropriate. I'm just, there needs to be something in us that learns contentment for something at some level.
Yeah. Well, not only learns it, but also practices it.
Yeah.
That's been something for me. It's funny. You were talking about, I'm going to use the term woo woo, a little bit of woo woo stuff.
Yeah.
You were saying that, and I immediately went to Enneagram. So I don't know if you're like, I'm not into the Enneagram.
I'm not either. People tell me what number I am, and I never remember.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I found it useful for self-analysis. So I'm an Enneagram 3.
All right.
And I'm all about giving Tim off-air book recommendations. I'll give him another one. This one was referred actually by Nick True, who you've been friends with.
Yeah.
Nick sent me this book, The Road Back to You. And I didn't even read the whole thing because it goes through like all the Enneagram numbers, and it goes like pretty deep, and I wasn't interested in it. But I did read the intro, and I read enough to where I figured out what I was, and then I just read that part of it, and I still actually found it really helpful. I don't want to go like too deep into it right now, but just for people listening.
Your first book recommendation to me was like a 10 out of 10. So is this like something you would put at that same level?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I would put it a little bit less. It's worth like a one-time thing, though. If you can go in not reading the entire book, focus on the intro, which kind of gives you enough context, and then figure out your number, then it's only one chapter, and then you can – even that will be helpful. So I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, but with the expectation that it won't take a lot of your time. It's low risk.
Okay.
It's low risk.
Yeah, I see it here on Amazon. So
yeah. Well, let's switch gears because I don't have you all day. I want to talk about YouTube, and I want to break this up into roughly 2 different stages of video in YouTube. I want to talk about the pre-YouTubers, possibly, and the newer YouTubers.
The pre-tubers sounds like it's a pre-adolescent.
It does.
Yeah.
The
I don't
0
know how
years old.
appropriate we should get here, but I got lots of thoughts going through my mind. I shouldn't say out loud.
We'll start focusing on the 9-year-old YouTubers and then go up from there. No. So everybody, I told you this off here, but I just want to let people know who I'm talking to. Almost everybody that listens to this has a platform of some type and has experience publishing content, trying to build an audience, and also trying to monetize, whether that is through affiliate marketing or their own digital products or coaching and services. Like that part's all over the gamut. But they have enough experience to realize YouTube is probably valuable, even if they're not sure what. And they kind of understand that it's not going to be a cakewalk, a walk in the park. It's not a super easy blue ocean opportunity or whatever. So for people who haven't started yet, but have their own brand and are thinking about starting, if someone are coming up to you at the local coffee shop or in your chicken coop, what would you say to them? They're like, Tim, what do you think?
Like,
I already have a blog. I've been thinking about getting into this.
Yeah. Like I think the first thing I would ask is like, what are you trying to accomplish? What's your goal here? I think that YouTube, just like any other platform, I'm not like a YouTube fanboy where I'm like, everyone needs to be on YouTube. It's the best. You know, I'm more of a, like, my backstory is like, I was a youth worker for 12 years, and I just love seeing the impact that had on kids and teenagers and their families and things. And when my wife and I were doing YouTube, I was hearing more stories of life change on YouTube than I was hearing, happening through my full-time job. And so I was like, oh, if I really want to scale life change, I think YouTube's a great place to do it. And I still believe that today. So I think it's an amazing platform for reaching people and changing their life. But I don't think it's the only platform where you can do that. Podcast is just a great blogging. It's like, it doesn't really matter wherever people are. If there's an opportunity to change, like to impact them positively, I think like that's what I get excited. So when people hear our company, like Video Creators Agency, they think that we're all about video, and we are, but we're actually like video though is the adjective. It's not the noun. It's not the subject. We're actually about creators. That's what this is about. And so I first would want to hear like, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you, and if YouTube makes sense for what they're trying to do, then I think, I'll help you learn how to use that tool. But you don't go up onto your roof to drive nails with a rake, and you don't try to get all the leaves out of your garden with a hammer. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the tool. It just means that you're using the tool to do the wrong job. So I first want to start there and figure out what that is before I'm like, yes, YouTube's for you or it's not for you. So that's where you start first.
What about this? I have historically worked more with podcasters because that's historically been my own thing. And something I get 8,000 emails a day with, Tim, when people ask me all the time.
Man, you need a VA.
I know. I'm massive huge. My audience is in the billions at this point. No, I kid. They say, I don't have the voice. I couldn't do it. And I have to imagine you hear a lot of this when it comes to making video. Like, oh, I don't mind sitting behind a keyboard and writing or blogging or whatnot, but I don't know if I have what it takes to look good on camera, to sound good, like to even like edit video. What would you say to those people who are like, I'm not even sure if I have what it takes?
You're probably right.
Really?
Yeah, because I was too. Everyone was. Like, that's where everyone starts at zero. There's no one who's just like, you know what? I was born with these skills already built in. you know? So they're developed, they're acquired, they're learned by all of us. And so the question really is like, well, if it's the right tool, then YouTube or video in general, like, you got to learn those things. If you don't want to learn those things, there's still some other options for using video, but depending on what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish. But you're probably right. Some people think like,
I like
that the people on YouTube who are super good at what they do, they just have some sort of natural ability. Oh, they're so good on camera. Like, they probably don't make any mistakes. They don't do any cuts. It's just like, and I'm like, no, that's called getting your reps in. Like, what you don't see, and no one really sees because it wasn't good enough to be seen, is all the stuff. It was like all the videos before. It was all those videos that are deleted now or unlisted, or in my case, I keep them all up. And people like my very first video, you're like, wow, you're right, that is rough. Yeah, but you can go find it. You can still up there. Yeah, it's called test video. So I put a lot of creative energy into that one, but it's still there. And so I think if it's just like anything, if you want it enough and it's the right tool, you can figure out how to make it work for you.
I like that. Okay, so let's jump ahead and talk to people who have just started in recent months. We'll say like the past 6 months, or those people who are like, you know what, Tim's right. I'm jumping in. I'm looking forward to this. I asked if anybody in my private community, Online Impact, had questions, and my friend Tay posted, yes, what should a new YouTuber expect in their first 90 days? Should they expect any traction whatsoever? Should they look forward to a bunch of zeros with the expectation that it might take off later? Like, what should they set their expectations for in the first couple of months?
Oh man. Well, you could set your expectations really low and then only be pleasantly surprised. That's one way to do it, I suppose. But we've worked with literally, count them, over 4,000 creators, clients over the past, well, I've only started tracking in the past 8 years. So, and there's not like one consistent thing like this is average growth in this amount of time, because there's so many variables to it, such as if you're a podcaster, you probably have already found your voice before and you can skip that step, so to speak. When you go to YouTube, you might have to learn how to like make eye contact with an inanimate object. But if you, there's something.
It's actually what I'm doing right now, by the way. Tim's picture is over here way to my right, which is probably why I keep looking over there. And right now, I can see you out of the corner of my eye. I'm like looking at like a little circle
right at me. I'm looking right into your eyeball right there.
I know. It's actually that camera.
But there's storytelling, for example. That's a really big skill that you need to learn. And so it kind of depends, one, on how many skills you're already bringing to the table. Two, it depends on like how big is the audience you're going after. You know, like my audience on YouTube is relatively small in terms of like how many active YouTube creators who speak English are there on the platform. And our best guess is like 1 million. So there's a lot more coming into it now, but we're more focused on, to get even more specific, on the next level people, like the more established creators. Like we're not your first 1,000 subscribers guy. We're more like your next 1 million subscribers guy. And so you go to that audience, it's even smaller. And so like if we got 100% of our market, we probably wouldn't have 1 million subscribers. And we got almost 600,000 right now. So we already have like pretty good market penetration in that regard. So different audience sizes are a thing to consider. How well your branding is, how well you make a human connection with someone, how clearly you communicate who you are, what you're all about to a first-time viewer who's never heard of you before, how well you position yourself. Like these are all just things that we help our clients do so that they get more traction faster. But they're just skills that you need to learn. And so in your first, what do you say, 90 days? Is that what he asked?
Yeah.
90? Yeah, it really just – like if you publish one video versus you publishing one a day, like that's another factor to consider. The more you publish, the more chances you have at that to make contact with one. You know, it's also more reps in. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay.
If you have a better response, I'd love to hear it. But
no, you actually made a transition for me, which I'm going to ignore.
Okay,
you started talking about storytelling and making better content. We'll come back to it. Okay. But – well, we've already thrown out like a couple of book recommendations. One that you didn't even know you recommended to me, but I've heard you talked about it, is Storyworthy by Matthew Dix, who has given lots of he's competed in the Moth like Grand Slams in the storytelling. I used to listen to the Moth podcast. I really enjoyed that book. I thought it was one of the more practical approaches to telling a story. You tell people like, hey, tell more stories in your content, and they're like, I don't know where to start with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Once upon a time?
What do I need to do?
Is that it?
Yeah. I recommend that book now to other people. Really, really practical way.
Where is that on your
better.
1 to 10 continuum on your scale?
I think it depends on the person.
Oh, it's true, yeah.
For people that I recommend it to, I would probably give it like an 8.
An 8. Okay. Yeah. That's about where I was going to go with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if it's for a YouTube if it's for like a Grand Slam person, it's a 10. But you're like, some things kind of like you got to tweak it a little bit for video, but not a whole lot. So 8 sounds good.
I'll also just keep rambling for a second here. Something I can't remember if it was you or if it was somebody else. I'm pretty sure it was you. I heard this on your podcast. Maybe it was like one of your clients had experimented with getting more into storytelling, and so they literally made a video with 0 edits, like literally no edits, almost like a live stream, just like telling a story or something.
3 stories.
So I did this when I heard that like a couple of months ago, and I'm not going to say like, oh, it went like uber viral, but I did see like watch time or user retention and all the metrics that you might want to look for. I saw them all go up.
Yeah, because people ask the question, they're like, how do I get more watch time? How do I get more views? How do I get more subscribers? How do I get more money, all those things. And all of those are results of something else. So you have to focus on the thing that actually creates more watch time, that creates more subscribers, that creates more money. And that is on like how well do you connect with people and deliver value to them. You know,
That's good.
So like when people are focused on views and watch time and subscribers, they're pulling on the wrong lever if that's what they want. Like they actually need to, like the YouTube's algorithms, the search and discovery systems are all designed to respond to your content based on how people respond to your content. So however the audience responds, that's how their systems respond. So if they click watch a minute and a half and then abandon it, might not do as good as the video where someone clicks, watches 5 minutes, and then watches 3 more videos from that same creator after that. Like that video is going to win all day long. So that's the thing they're tracking. And so when we look at how do we boost these metrics, we primarily think of it in terms of like how do we make a stronger emotional connection with a viewer faster.
Okay, I'm literally like writing these down. Stronger emotional connection,
man. And then you can give it a 10 out of 10.
I know. You and Daryl's book. I love Daryl's book.
Yeah,
I thought it was actually really well done. Stronger emotional connection. So,
well, that's the thing stories do. That's like they build connection. They get us emotionally involved. So,
yeah.
Quickly.
This is going to be a very
when
hard
done
thing.
Well. I keep adding parenthetical thoughts. Yeah, it works when it's done well. You can tell a lame story that does nothing. I worked with a client earlier today that it's like our 3rd session or something. And they're like, to your point, like I'm telling stories imperfectly, and it's working better. But like and so we're like, yeah, so you're missing these elements of the story, this element of the story. So telling a story imperfectly is still better than not telling one at all, usually. But telling it well is like a home run. So,
well, don't let me pressure you to release any confidential information like the name of your client or anything. But what were the story elements that they were missing? Like, what were you watching and being like, you should have done this?
This is a real estate channel, and they buy, invest, flip, rent, real estate properties, and they're teaching other people how to grow their real estate businesses. And so he's making a video about like this house that they bought, and they had all these problems with it, and they got it listed, or no, they're about to get it listed the next day, but then a hurricane came through, and then they had to like work on it again for 2 more weeks before they could list it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I get there's a character who wants something. There's obstacles that they're facing, and they eventually got what they want. But I was like, but what was at stake? Like, you never told me why I should care about you overcoming these obstacles. So it's kind of like, all right, you had a difficult time selling this. I get it, Yeah. But instead, it should have been like, and we had to get it listed by tomorrow, because if we didn't, this bigger thing, like, and it could be internal. It could be like I would feel something, or I would be stressed, or like. But it could also be like this external pressure. Like, there's got to be some stakes involved. So that was like in that case, the one scenario I'm talking about. Like, it was better. He had a character, he had desire, he had obstacles. The other thing he was doing wrong at the end of the story, there should be character transformation. Like, let me quickly kind of like give an outline so we're all on the same page here, so to speak. With a good story is number one. So use this for your next video. How about that? We'll put it in this framework. Framework for making your next video. Answer these questions before you hit record. Number 1, who is the character? Number 2, what do they want? Number 3, why can't they have what they want? Number 4, what's at stake if they don't get what they want? Number 5, who or what comes along and helps the character do what they couldn't do before? Number 6, how does a character ultimately get what they wanted? And number 7, how is the character transformed by the process? Okay. You don't need all of them, but you do at least need character, desire, obstacles, and transformation, climax. Yeah, they got what they wanted. Okay. So if you have all of those, the story is more likely to perform better in terms of video words, in terms of like watch time and things like that. Because it's creating an emotional connection with the viewer. And so, what was your question again? I feel like I was trying to answer something.
I don't remember, but let me interrupt.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Everyone else is like, cliffhanger.
Yeah. We're talking about your client. But
so they were missing the transformation. That's what it was. Because the transformation at the end was not the story set up for like this thing, but at the end it was like his mom felt a certain way. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I'm glad she's happy now, but it's the character needs to be transformed, not like a supporting character.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. What about, so I just heard 70,000 people scream out in horror when they heard you say that. But Tim, I talk about how-to content, informational content, or I review iPhones
about
taxes,
or something like that. Or spreadsheets.
I talk about taxes. Yeah. Should they do the same thing?
Yes.
Can they do the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the viewer is still a human. They're still an emotional being who even the hardest hearts will connect on some level, even if it's like how hard we are, So we think that we're talking to someone who just wants information. And a lot of times, yes, they just want information. They don't know that what they actually want is to feel like it's a good video. And I'll put good in like quotes because that's the only language they have to describe it. But what we know now is like what describes, like when someone says it's a good video, what they're really saying is this video made me feel something. So how do you do that when you're just talking about taxes or teaching people how to use spreadsheets or, something? I know some people get really giddy about spreadsheets. I'm just not one of them, so I'll use those as an example.
I'm not either.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad those people exist because I hire them and I need them in my life, but I am not that person. That's all.
Totally.
So let me give you a different example because another client of ours can speak to a little bit more authoritatively. They have just a drawing channel, and they just teach people how to draw. This guy is in particular teaches people how to draw realistic faces, like portraits of people and things like that. And so he was getting like 20,000-ish views per video just on his own. We started working with him, and we took this approach with him, like, let's tell a story around this. And so when we say tell a story, usually where people get hung up is they think a story needs to look a certain way. They think Hollywood. They think major motion picture films. They think like Harry Potter novels or something like that. And that certainly is a story. But also remember that the best YouTube shorts and TikToks are usually just good 15-second stories. And they go through almost all, maybe not all, but at least most of those story questions that we just talked about in very little amount of time. And so in the drawing tutorial example, instead of going like, hey, today I'm going to teach you how to draw this face like this and how to fix that mistake and 9 ways to do this and top mistakes newbies make and, all those types of videos. He's like, he teases the transformation story in the thumbnail with a before and after. And the title is something like, I forget what it is, putting myself on the spot. I can pull it up here real quick. I think I have it in one of my decks, but basically, he says the opening lines, he's like, I'll read it to you. I got it right here. It's coming. 3, 2, 1, -1. Here it is. I got it. Okay. Okay. 2 beginners instantly improve how to draw what you see. And it's like this before and after, thumbnail.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. And so he opens the video saying, I asked my wife and my friend Dan to draw this face. Neither one of them can draw. My wife told me that she just can't draw faces, which is a common thing to feel. Maybe you feel something similar. Okay. So here we have it. There's a character, his wife. She has an obstacle. She just can't draw faces. And it's an internal thing that she feels is what's at stake is like, I'll just never be confident in myself. I can't do this. And he's like, maybe, and then the rest of it is like, here's the simple tricks of doing that. That video very quickly went to 850,000 views and is at over 1 million now instead of doing this normal 10 to 20,000 views because of the transformation story that was teased. Another example that I like is a friend of mine, Brad from Fix This, Build That. Instead of making a tutorial channel on how to build this thing, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, he will open it up with, my wife is out of town. My wife just hates this dresser in our bedroom. She's out of town for the weekend, and I just want to know, can I build her a dresser that looks like this? This is her favorite kind, and let me just see if I can do this before she gets back and surprise her with it. Something like that. couple sentences. Now he knows the character with desire, with obstacles, at stakes. And then he goes and he shows his whole process of building it, but all of his mistakes. And then he can't figure out how to get his CNC machine to do something right. So he calls his buddy, who's the guide, who helps him do what he couldn't do before. Or it could be like a tool or a search query or something. It could be who or what helps you do what you can do before. An app, a book, or something. And so he overcomes it. But we're really watching, like, I'm learning how to build the dresser, but at the end, what I really want to see is it the transformation on his wife's face? Like, does she like it? Is it good? Like, that's the tension that's pulling me to the end of the story.
So interesting.
It could be someone who's like another friend of mine, Justin Rhodes. His channel is all about homesteading, like home farms and stuff like that. And instead of making, here's how you move your chickens from this part of your field to the other part of your field, he'll say, like, I got to get these chickens from here to over there. But is a really good way to keep the story. Like, don't say and this happened and this happened and this happened. And that's just not a story. It's a sequence of events. But if you this happened, but then this happened, but then this happened, but then this happened, like the but keeps it moving. So I need to get these chickens from this side of the field to this side, but it looks like it's going to thunderstorm in about 15 minutes. I got to get the chickens across this road in between. And if a truck comes by just the right time, like, I could lose all my chickens. And I need to get my kids to help me do this, but they're all in a bad mood today. So, like, that's his intro. So 3 or 4 sentences in, we know the character, the desire, the obstacles, and the stakes. Boom. And now it's the tutorial, basically, of how he moves the chickens. But at the end, it's not like, now you can go move your chickens. Instead, it's like him and his kids collapsing on the floor, being like, we did it. Like, we learned how to work together. It wasn't smooth. It wasn't pretty, but we got it done, and we feel proud that we got that done. Like, that's the transformation.
I like that.
So, does that make sense?
Yes, I love that. And for people, whenever anybody who talks about stories or storytelling and uses the word stakes, my head immediately goes back to something. I used to work with Grant Baldwin's team. I don't know if you know him or not, but he talks to public speakers. And one of his first hard and fast rules for anybody who wants to get into public speaking is everybody in your audience is sitting there, probably subconsciously, wondering, why should I care about this?
Yes.
Why should I listen to this person? Why do I need to know this? Like, all those why questions. And
why
so
do I
something
care?
Grant has always taught is you have to answer that. And you have to get to it fast, right? You have to connect with people and let them know what's in it for them. Why should they keep watching? Why do they care? Like, get them invested in whatever it is you're going to teach, or yada, yada. That's always what my brain goes to when somebody uses the word stakes. Like, what's at stake is potential bad outcomes, plus all that wise stuff. I don't know if that made sense or not. But
totally. Yeah, I do that something similar when I present. So, totally.
Like
not that makes it right, but yeah.
Well, now
it's right because I do it. Yeah.
Yes. Tim, I can't believe we made it through an entire podcast without talking about how you're less one tooth right now.
Well, that's up to you. You're kind of steering this thing, so if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
I've actually just decided to tease it and to see if anybody mentions this. If I get angry emails, or if Tim gets angry YouTube comments on his very first video.
There needs to be stakes of why they would care. Right?
So,
if you want the emails, because otherwise, okay, you lost a tooth, whatever.
That's a good point.
Yeah. You got to tell about a story here.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot here. I'm sucking at this.
I don't have a good story for it either. I lost a tooth. That was kind of it. And it happened 5 minutes before I got on the recording. That was and I was trying to call the dentist while telling people, like, hold on, I'm not ready yet.
Well, I'll tell you what, the stakes are a big question mark, because people don't know here. Tim could be dying, right? They don't know exactly what caused you to lose your tooth. I know, but I'm not going to tell anybody. That's
you don't want to tell them about the big fight I got into? Obviously, I won because I'm here.
Yeah, but there are potential ramifications of this.
Yeah.
No, I'm completely BSing my entire way through this. Tim, I want to thank you for coming on. Why don't you – so videocreators.com. For anybody who already has a channel, I'm just going to go ahead and recommend them hire your team for a consult. I heard you guys it's probably 4 months back, maybe 3 or 4 months back at this point, and it was insanely valuable for just an hour with somebody who knows what they're talking about and could come and analyze my small-ish channel It was really valuable. I haven't told you this yet, but I literally printed out 3 copies of the notes, and I set 2 aside to come back to a month later and then a year later.
What was that?
Like I literally
Who did you meet with on my team? Was it Ingrid?
Yes,
Ingrid.
it was Ingrid.
Okay, cool.
She's super sweet. She was awesome. The first pair of notes I wrote all over, and I've like kept on my desk. It's actually on a table across the room right now. But it was really great. And so I would encourage anybody to go check out your services there.
Oh, cool, thanks. 10 out of 10? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
9 out of 10?
Easily.
8 maybe?
11 out of 10.
11. Now you're a suck up.
For the money I paid, I would definitely recommend it a 10 out of 10. That's like easily worth it.
Okay, cool.
Easily
Thanks.
worth it. Very high ROI. But other than that, is there anything else you want to point people to? Could be free resource or your YouTube channel.
Well, we have a weekly podcast. Sorry, hold on.
It's the tooth. It's Tim's missing tooth. It's causing major issues here.
You can edit that out.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a podcast every week just called Video Creators. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, wherever, Apple. The podcast peeps are these days. Our goal in that show is me and a couple of the other YouTube strategists on my team. We get together and we just kind of hang out, have fun, and talk about more of the next level strategies for growing on YouTube. What is that? Not your first 1,000 subs, but like your next million, and what does it take to get there? And so we have a good time. New episode every Monday, so that'd be a good place to start.
I love it, man. Well, Tim, thanks for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so if you enjoyed this chat with Tim Schmoyer, I encourage you to go, subscribe to him on YouTube. You're going to learn a lot about YouTube there. And number 2, go watch this other video I posted that details how much money I make as a small channel on YouTube. I think it's important. I think there are value bombs here if you are a newer YouTuber. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below. It'll also be up here somewhere. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching me on YouTube. Do you vlog family? Thanks to Tim for doing the podcast. Adios.